Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Jokers Wild.
And welcome to a very special retrospective podcast here. This is going to be an interesting experiment. We're talking pre-YouTube Disney fan multimedia on the internet. Goddamn, there's literally like no easy way to say that.
Yeah, I know.
It's like
Disney
I think it's a really interesting concept, and it's something that I actually want to make a video essay about one day. But here's the kind of pilot for the concept, I guess. Yeah. So you and I, we've been around the block as far as Disney fan sites go.
Unfortunately, we have been.
We're old.
Yeah, it's okay.
So basically my idea for this podcast is that the internet right now is a great place for theme park enthusiasts, especially on YouTube, because I love that on YouTube you have a lot of different Disney park channels, but also a lot of different coaster channels, and they're kind of like two different communities, and they're kind of sharing the same general space and kind of crossing over with each other. And it's a really exciting, growing community on YouTube, and I feel like it's a fast-growing community, and it's a community that I never thought we'd get to. This is pretty much like a dream of mine, because basically the point of this podcast, in addition to just kind of like reminiscing about our past and doing a little bit of member berries and soul searching, we're gonna kind of just illustrate to you guys how we lived through a time where it wasn't all that easy to just get any Disney content you could ever want, especially in the wake of Pink Pearl. In the wake of Pink Pearl. Wow, that was a Freudian sleep.
Yeah, I was going to say, what the fuck?
Wow. I'm so sorry. Especially in the wake of YouTube, in the wake of streaming, in the wake of all that stuff. You know, there was a time, kids, when there were video stores and you couldn't just, did you know that? Did you know about video stores? Anyways. Pink Pearl, you're still, I think you can clarify this. You're on the set of Haunted Mansion, right? She's an extra on Haunted Mansion.
Oh, really? That's great.
Yeah. I'm awake. Okay, so let's get into this. Happy to see you, Pink Pearl. So we're going to start with the e-ticket magazine. Have you looked into this at all?
A little bit. It's definitely the one I'm least familiar with.
I mean, that's fine, because it's not like issues are not readily available unless you go to the Walt Disney Family Museum.
Oh, that's interesting. No, that's exactly what I was running into. Like, I read the Wikipedia page, and that was about all I could find.
Right.
Sure, so
one of the cool things about the e-ticket magazine, and I'm not sure how far back this goes, but it's one of the very first indications of this thing was sold in the parks, at least on Main Street at Disneyland, because I vividly remember it. I vividly remember it as like a big kind of part of going to Disneyland, was going into I believe it was the music shop on Main Street that would sell these magazines, and they'd be up by the up by the cash register. And they'd always have very striking covers, all hand-drawn illustrations. We have LEB in the comments, too. Hey, how you doing? Happy to have you. Tonight is a graveyard shoot. Oh, God, that's so freaking cool, Pink Pearl. I'm sorry. I'm very happy for you, Pink Pearl. It seems like a dream job for you. Anyways, so let's... So with the e-ticket, actually the cover that we have on this thumbnail here is a very fascinating cover story that kind of got my imagination flowing about armchair Imagineering at a young age, which was an extremely detailed, like scene by scene description of what the Bloodmere Manor concept for the Haunted Mansion walkthrough would have been like.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's like, oh Jesus. I really think that they should, I don't know if the Walt Disney Family Museum officially owns them or not. I know that they sell them like they have like a huge backstock of the magazines.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd definitely be something to like put online for prosperity's sake, for sure.
There's gotta be like rips online.
But yeah, this was a fan-published magazine. That was kind of the important thing that I sort of forgot to mention off the top here. Two brothers. I believe their names were Robert and Jim Jimenez. I might have their first names mixed up, but I know the last name was Jimenez. And yeah, I just think it's really cool. It was a very, very prominent magazine of its time. And one of the earlier examples, like I'm sure it wasn't the first Disney fan magazine by any means, but it was probably one of the first. Yeah, it was a fan magazine, Pink Pearl. It was a fan magazine. Here's how the issues worked.
Also, sorry to interrupt super quick. It's Leon and Jack Jansen.
Oh, Leon and Jack. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said Jimenez. Thank you.
It's okay. No, you're close.
I was close. Okay, Monkey says, ooh, hell of a cool topic. I don't know how much I'll be able to watch live, but I definitely want to hear the whole thing at some point. Yeah, happy to have you, Monkey. I'm really excited about the topic. It's been something I've been wanting to explore for a while. And you know what? I'm actually going to, just to create a sense of flow here, I'm going to do some banners. So we're going to talk about Ticket.
While you're doing that, I just found one rip on the Internet Archive. It's a Small World issue from 2002.
So the articles, the issues would start out. They'd have a pretty similar format, where I believe there'd be like an opening article that I think it might have been. I think either the opening or the closing article was a piece on a certain collectible or piece of merchandise or something like that. And then the other way that it was broken up is that they'd have a big cover story about a certain attraction, and then corresponding to that cover story, and this was the really cool part of this magazine, would be an interview with, an Imagineer or whoever. It didn't necessarily have to be an Imagineer, but most of the time it was an Imagineer that worked on said attraction. And they got some really cool, like, deep cuts. Like, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Evan, I believe on that Small World issue you're talking about, they have an interview with Alice Davis, right?
I'm actually trying to get it to load right now. It's loading,
okay, no problem,
It's loading like a late 90s image, so it's like line by line for the past.
Hey, what do you know? Good transition there, buddy. You want to talk about late 90s internet? And
yeah, it was not a good time.
No, seriously. So I remember a time. Hold on.
Small World issue is Rolly Crump.
Rolly Crump. Okay, that makes sense for Small World.
Yeah.
So let's transition to Disney fan sites.
Yeah.
So I was going to talk about Hidden Mickeys first because it was kind of one of the older ones. But let's kind of talk about just this in general. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. You lived through dial-up internet for a certain period of your life, right?
A little bit. I don't know if we ever had dial-up.
Okay, well, I had dial-up.
Yeah, because
I'm old enough to have had dial-up.
Yeah, I remember getting internet in like 98 or 99, but I don't ever remember having dial-up specifically.
One of the big things I remember about dial-up as far as Disney fan multimedia on the internet goes is I vividly remember going through websites and trying to find just pictures, Evan, just pictures, just still god dang pictures on the internet of Disney parks, and having to do that classic, like, okay, it's like 10% there. It's 20% there. Almost. I'm almost going to see the glory of the, of the Peter Pan's Flight London scene, or the, or a Casey Jr. circus train diorama or some stuff like that,
Yeah.
This graveyard is haunted. I'm sitting near a pyramid tomb of Nicolas Cage.
Ooh.
Wait. Oh, you're at that graveyard. Oh, yeah. Oh, geez. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, that's in New Orleans, right?
Yes. Oh, man. Pink Pearl, this is a wild story. You're gonna have to
Okay.
oh man, that's great.
Forgot
Okay,
that he did
so
that.
we'll double back around to stuff like MouseInfo, VisionsFantastic, Laugh and Place, all that kind of stuff. Let's
Yeah.
talk about hidden Mickeys though, because as Miscellaneous points out, hidden Mickeys, memories returning. Hidden Mickeys, for me personally, was like the mecca of just like Disney fun facts and like cool information and stuff like that. Do you remember Hidden Mickeys? Did you go on there at all?
I went on it a little bit, not a ton. I got most of my information, as I'm sure we'll talk later, from places like Yesterland and All Ears and places like that. Yeah.
Okay, Yesterland was also great, and that corresponded to Hidden Mickeys. And I love Yesterland because that's actually a site that's still up and still pretty prominent, and I'm very glad for that. And it still pretty much more or less exists in the form that it existed in back then.
I know. It looks
but I love that about it, though. I feel like
absolutely.
Like folks, like honestly, the Yesterland is very much a like a surviving relic of this era. HiddenMickeys.org is not, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But here's what I loved about HiddenMickeys.org. Now, most people used it for Hidden Mickeys. And to be honest with you, there's so many Hidden Mickeys that I honestly kind of find it overwhelming to the point where, like, I don't really care to catalog it. It's just sort of one of those things where it's like, if I see it, I'm like, oh, look, there it is. Neat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one of the things I do care to catalog that this site also had was little secrets and details. And so this is where I found out about a lot of really cool stuff. For example, I'll just kind of like rattle off some of the cool things. The like a lot of cool stuff on Main Street, like the Pinocchio, the coin-op Pinocchio thing where you could you could puppeteer him.
Yeah.
The glass elephant that was once in the Gibson Girl ice cream parlor, but now is above the queue of the Jungle Cruise. Like fun facts about the pipe organ in Dumbo. I mean, all kinds of different stuff like that. The info about the Snow White and the Seven Dwarf marble statues and the grotto and the whole thing about how Snow White's like the same scale as the dwarves, but they do, all kinds of different things about forced perspective. Basically any sort of like hidden, it was essentially like a text-based version of like 101 hidden facts about Disneyland you never knew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there was such a charm and a grassroots nature to Hidden Mickeys because it was completely fan run. And the way that they do it is that people could go on there. It was very much like a blog style website. People could go on there, make posts, and the cool thing about it is that this was kind of like pre-Reddit in a way, the way the system worked, where people could confirm the reports, and the more confirmations that the reports got, the higher up on the on the page it would go. And I thought that was a really cool system back in the day.
Yeah, that might have been before Reddit too.
Pink Pearl says, it was definitely before Reddit.
Yeah, I don't know when Reddit started.
Does it mention that in the last minute completely yeah, Pink Pearl, there definitely was a section for Disney movie fun facts for sure. I do remember that. I don't remember the Lilo and Stitch thing in particular, but I definitely remember there being a section for fun facts. But yeah, Hidden Mickeys, man. You want me to? I'll tell you the most obscure freaking thing that happened on Hidden Mickeys for me.
Yeah,
and that's Peter Pan's flight. So do you know how on the Florida version, as soon as you leave the nursery, there's like a Nana animatronic? Evan, that's not there at Disneyland.
Really? That's interesting.
It's never been. And here's the thing. Someone on Hidden Mickeys posted that fun fact of the Nana animatronic as soon as you leave the nursery.
Oh, were they all pissy? Or
No. None of them were pissy. It got confirmed.
Okay.
Evan, for a long time, that Nana animatronic was like a white whale for me.
Oh, really?
I would go onto that attraction and I'd be like, okay, the window's coming up. I'm going to fucking see Nana this time. I swear to God, it was like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. And obviously what happened is that, you know, someone posted a fun fact about the Walt Disney World version of the attraction. And, you know, no one, like, it was true. Like, people confirmed it because they had been on the Walt Disney World version, not realizing that it's not in the Disneyland version.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was fun times. Fun times. Okay, why don't we get into something that I know you're familiar with, which is the one and only, I think one of the legendary original Disney fan web designers, Chef Mayhem. And he is most known for his site, which is now, I believe, the official Haunted Mansion site, if I'm not mistaken.
The official?
I'm pretty sure it's officially tied in with a Haunted Mansion at this point, yeah.
That's very interesting.
DoomBuggies.com.
Yeah, I used to go on DoomBuggies a lot.
Please, I've been taking the reins on this, so please, you know, by all means, share your thoughts.
No, it was a really cool site. They kind of, like, outlined, like, literally everything you would want to know about the Haunted Mansion. I remember when they found that like super grainy video of the Hatbox Ghost from previews.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and how that was a big deal.
I'm pretty sure it was the site that kind of like unearthed the Hatbox Ghost thing. It's the site where the Hatbox Ghost stuff kind of originated from.
Well, I don't know what it's from. I like distinctly remember like a video where they were like interviewing Tony Baxter in the attic, like after hours or something, and he was talking about the Hatbox Ghost. And then they had like that super grainy video of the Hatbox Ghost.
I distinctly remember them talking about the Black Knight as well.
Yeah. There was that. Yeah, I think I found DoomBuggies because when I was like a child, I really liked the. I think he only did two of them. Jason Sorrell did a book series about Disney attractions.
Yeah,
and there was one for Haunted Mansion, one for Pirates, and I had both. And then that kind of led me to DoomBuggies, which had similar information but a little bit more. Yeah, I really like the website. It's been a very long time since I've been on it, and I definitely
feel like one of the important thing to note about DoomBuggies is that this was a significant step up from something like Hidden Mickey's as far as actual web design goes.
Yeah, it was almost like a blog at that point too.
I mean, yeah, but I'm saying like they had like full on multimedia. They had audio you could click on. Yeah. And that doesn't sound like much, but like back in the day, you know, this was like the wild, wild west of, you know, of the internet at this point. So it's like websites were a lot less, you know, a lot less structured than they are now. And so what I love about DoomBuggies was it was very freeform, where they had like a historical section. They had, you know, message boards, interviews, all kinds of stuff. It was I feel like it was ahead of its time.
No, absolutely. It was a really good website. It was definitely, it was really like professionally presented. It was definitely ahead of its time. Because when was it opened? Does it say on the?
Oh man, that's a. I should have looked some of this stuff up. I am unprofessional.
No, you're good. I wasn't sure if you knew offhand.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I can look it up. Maybe. It'll tell me. I looked up DoomBuggies and it said DoomBuggies for sale.
I know.
That's not what I need. No, it doesn't say the copyright's 2018, which is definitely
which is obviously not when the website opened.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a really great website. I recommend it to everyone who wants to read anything about the Haunted Mansion.
And then Tell No Tales was very much in the same vein as DoomBuggies. I don't think it ever got quite as popular as DoomBuggies did because, like I said, DoomBuggies was kind of like on the ground floor of the Haunted Mansion fandom.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever heard of Tell No Tales.
Tell No Tales was kind of just like sort of riding the coattails of DoomBuggies, if I'm being completely honest with you.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
But it was a good site in its own way, and it kind of, you know, it did basically what DoomBuggies did, but with pirates. So
yeah. That's good. It was big enough. Pirates, yeah. Yeah, no, I really like DoomBuggies. I have a few weird ones we can talk about if you want to that I'm not sure.
Yeah, sure.
It's not really a fan. I mean, I guess it's a fan site. I used to use MouseBIts a lot. That was really cool.
Oh, tell me about MouseBits. I don't know about this one.
It's a website where you can download torrents of Disney music.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh god!
But back in the day, like a decade plus ago, it was really good for source audio.
Oh.
So I used to download like a bunch of stuff. I think that was like the only thing I ever torrented was like stuff from MouseBits. What else was there? I used to go on like a lot of blogs, some of which I know you know, like Mesa Verde Times, and used to go on like Imagineering Disney and stuff like that. Those were really great. Oh my god, I forgot. I had one and I forgot it. Before I came to VisionsFantastic, which we'll surely talk about. Yes. I started out going. I think my forum journey. I started out going on VMK forums after VMK shut down.
Oh yeah. You've told me this multiple times that VMK was like your first exposure. Yes.
Yeah. I was on VMK forums for like probably 2 years before I moved over to VisionsFantastic. Yeah, no, I was on for exactly 2 years before I moved over to VisionsFantastic. Because I think I joined VMKMagic, which was the big one, and then they shot themselves in the foot by making like a really weird website that I don't even think it's open anymore. I think it was called Disney MMOs, and it was like a forum dedicated to Disney MMOs. That's the name implies. And as soon as they migrated over, like the community collapsed. Like it just died really quickly. But for those few years, VMKMagic was a really, really cool place. And
you know what the thing of it is that I think I just didn't have a computer that was good enough to run VMK.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, I feel like this is kind of like the result of me being a few years older than you. Is that like back in the day, probably when VMK was going on, like, or when it was first starting, I was probably still on dial-up.
Really? In 2005?
No, maybe I just had a shitty computer.
Okay. Because it was only open because it opened for the 50th.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just had a shitty computer. I'm pretty sure like every time I tried to load it, it was just super buggy.
No, that's fair. But VMK was great. VMKMagic was really cool. I met a lot of really good people on there. Yeah.
Okay, a couple comments to get to. So Pink Pearl says she brings up magazines. So there's two I want to get to there. This is not fan content, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But the two Disney magazines being, I believe it was just called the Disney Magazine.
Yeah, I think my grandfather got that for the longest time.
I believe that was like a quarterly thing where they would release it like 4 times a year.
I think you're right. And then it got canceled for D23.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. But the thing I remember more is Disney Adventures. Do you remember Disney Adventures?
Yeah, no, I was subscribed to Disney Adventures.
Tell the folks about Disney Adventures.
Yeah, Disney Adventures was a really great magazine. It was really weird because they were tiny.
They were very tiny. That was a distinct thing about them.
Yeah, like they were really thick. So like they weren't like short, but they were like tiny, like, physically tiny books.
Right, right.
They had some really great comics to the point where they did like comic specific issues. They did interviews. One of I don't know why I've always remembered this, but they did an interview with Donald Trump.
Oh God!
It was like at the height of the Apprentice. And they asked him if he feels bad firing people, and he said, "I always feel bad firing people. I don't like having to say you're fired in real life, but I have to for the show."
Oh my God!
I don't know why. I don't know why that stuck with me forever.
Oh wow!
But it's really funny now.
Pink Pearl, I was just addressing your the magazine. So I was talking about the official Disney magazine and then Disney Adventures we're talking about right now.
Yeah. But yeah, Disney Adventures was great. It was like I don't know if I preferred it to Nick Mag.
I think man, yeah. Oh God, yeah. Nickelodeon magazine was God, that's a rabbit hole. Magazines in general, dude. We could do a whole podcast about like, video game magazines, Nickelodeon magazine.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I had Nick Mag, I had Disney Adventures, I had Nintendo Power, I had EGM. I had them all.
EGM. Yeah. Oh, EGM. Game Pro.
Is that Game Pro? Oh no, I did not have Game Pro.
Game Pro was not one of the better ones.
Yeah, I think I only had EGM. I might have had like the PlayStation magazine for a very brief period.
I remember the official PlayStation magazine. Yeah, that was the one with the demo discs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh-huh. All right, anyways.
Disney Adventures is great. It's a really great magazine. If you can find like PDFs of it, it's definitely worth looking into. Or collections of the comics, because they did have really, really good comics.
Yeah, Pink Pearl cites the DuckTales comics, which I do remember.
I remember they had a comic about some kid in space. I forget what it was called, but I remember it looking like vaguely like Calvin and Hobbes.
All right, and then also she briefly mentions movie surfers.
Yeah, I did not have that, but I've heard of it.
I remember it, Pink Pearl. I meant that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into my first Disney fan site where I was a part of the community, which was MouseInfo. You see it right there on the thumbnail.
I do see it. It's the big M with the exclamation point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing with MouseInfo. I had heard about the Tiki Juice Bar. I did not know that the Tiki Juice Bar was there. It intrigued me. This was after my first visit to Disneyland, where I really got to explore Disneyland.
Yeah.
And it intrigued me because, like, I had gone to the Tiki Room. I had loved the Tiki Room, and I hadn't even noticed that the juice bar was there. So I had Googled, I just literally did a Google for Tiki Room, Tiki Juice Bar.
Yeah.
MouseInfo was the first site that came up. And honestly, the rest is kind of history for me. I don't want to make this too autobiographical because I've already kind of done a lot of that.
I mean, that's okay. It's kind of, it makes sense.
But the way that Tiki came about is actually very, very simple. First of all, I distinctly remember lying about my age because I was 12 at the time and you had to be 13. So I was like, yeah, sure. December 11th, 1989. Yeah, not 1990.
I do the same thing. I still do it to this day where when it asks for my age, I put in January 1st, 1989.
Really?
Yeah, because I used to do that when I was a kid.
That's funny. Oh, God. Stopped. Anyways, and as far as the username went, I put in #1 Tiki Room fan.
Yeah.
And let me just say, I absolutely 100%, oh my God, if you went back and read some of my original posts, which I'm sure are probably still up there somewhere on their archives, it would have been just cringe city all over the place. But I remember just absolutely falling in love with the idea of the forums. This was actually the first forum that I remember stumbling upon, like, period. And just being able to be in a community where they were all like this was the root, man. This was the genesis for me of my identity as Tiki. And I was one of those annoying as hell kids. I'm sure my grammar was terrible. I'm sure my spelling was terrible. In the cringy room. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God.
I was one of those annoying kids that would like make a bunch of posts just to elevate my post count because I thought that post count somehow mattered.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's people in that community that still look back at me and be like, oh my God, that Tiki guy was fucking awful. But they did give me the nickname of Tiki, and it did stick.
Yeah.
Because remember, I was #1 Tiki Room fan. People there just started calling me Tiki for short, and that's exactly how I got that name. All right, so I went off and did my own thing. There's a whole tangent for that, but let's get into MouseInfo.
Yeah.
Post count, yes, post count. Back when it mattered, Rob. Back when it mattered. Back when it was like a form of currency.
Jesus Christ. VMK
You only
Magic.
have 500 posts. I have 2,000.
I love it.
That's literally how it was.
The VMKMagic website is still accessible.
Nice.
It's been shut down for a decade. You can still go on it, and they still have like the goodbye banner. It's funny.
Okay, so VisionsFantastic. I'm gonna let you take the reins on it. This was special, man. This was our meeting point.
I know it was. So I discovered VisionsFantastic because on VMKMagic, one of the mods, every once in a while they would do like contests, and the contest happened to be Armchair Imagineering. And I think I got like 3rd place. I know I placed. I forget what I got. But I wanted to do more of it. And VMKMagic didn't really have that because everyone was focused on talking about MMOs and just being children. It was 2010. I would have been 15 at the time. So I found VisionsFantastic because they had a dedicated Imagineering board. And that's where I stayed for, like 3-4 years, really. And then, yeah, I don't think I ever once posted outside the Imagineering board.
I know, I don't know if I did either. Yeah.
Maybe you were a little bit more active in the community itself.
Uh-huh.
But for those 3-4 years, it was really great. It definitely had ups and downs, but the community was really cool. It was it was kind of like lightning in a bottle. It was just like a very special community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That will never be replicated.
Although I do think we're doing a good job of keeping the spirit alive on WDW
absolutely,
Magic,
absolutely.
if I do say so myself.
Absolutely, but it's still not quite the same. Like I felt really close to everybody on VisionsFantastic.
Right, I hear you. Yeah, this is where we kind of get into the armchair Imagineering side of things, which I mean, oddly enough, it's a very popular subject now, and I kind of feel like I was on the ground floor for some of it. I really do. Yeah. I don't want to brag, but I feel like I have some historical significance in it in some way. Like, I try to be humble about this because it's, it's not like So You Want to Be an Imagineer is like a super well-known thing or anything, but so basically what happened is I was on a site called Mouse Times. And this was almost kind of like a rival site to VisionsFantastic in a lot of ways. And by the way, can we just also talk about like just how many like mouse and we could just literally do like.
Well, I was gonna ask if you want to bring up mouse ears later because it's worth mentioning.
What is mouse ears? I don't even know what mouse ears is.
Am I wrong? Am I thinking of something else?
I don't. What are you trying to think of? I don't know.
Give me a second. I'm hungover.
But there was laugh in place. What?
I'm sorry. Ignore me. Yeah, keep going.
There was laugh in place. There was mouse, like I said, MouseInfo, Mice Chat, which we'll get to.
I'm thinking of Mice Chat. I'm sorry. I'm very Yeah,
we'll get to Mice Chat. Chat. Still alive and thriving to this day.
I know. Oh, boy.
But seriously, there was just a lot of different kind of like sub communities within this sphere at this point. Of course, WDW Magic was a part of it as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was on Mouse Times, Intercot. Oh, and Rob also, yes, I do remember Iago and Zazu's attraction of the week. I definitely remember that for sure. Oh my god, the wardrobe lady is she said she remembers MouseInfo. Yeah, MouseInfo was definitely it was.
I think I went on MouseInfo a few times, maybe probably.
I swear to God, I must have given the owners of that site hell for how annoying I was.
Yeah.
Oh, I stole. The guy who ran the site was just some very average looking, like 30-something-year-old named Michael.
Yeah. That's funny.
Anyways.
I'm going to mention something off topic once we're done with VF. Just remind me.
Okay, so one thing I want to strike up about VF is that VF was actually another important stepping stone. I feel like it was, like, as far as web design goes, yes, the forums were amazing, but I would say it absolutely was the best designed website out of all these, like MouseInfo, Mice Chat, Laughing Place, that, you know, that whole chain of fan sites in this time. Specifically because they were one of the first to get into the game of videos, podcasts, which was very important.
Yeah.
And you know, like dining reviews. All these are things that you know, that are pretty typical nowadays and things that would seem like no-brainers. But I definitely know that VisionsFantastic was, they prided themselves on having the most complete library of Disney park videos on the internet at a certain point in time. And remember, folks, we're talking pre-YouTube here. We're talking pre-YouTube. So this is probably earlier than or if not pre-YouTube, at the very least when YouTube Disney stuff was much less accessible. And so I want to talk about, so like, do you remember QuickTime?
Yeah.
Like, do you remember having to download the videos and then watching them on your QuickTime player?
No, I never did that because I am a little bit younger than you.
Yes.
I didn't really start watching videos until YouTube came out.
So I was very much in the mindset when I was young. So this was this must have been probably like 2003. So like, you know, just a couple years before YouTube. And this was when VF, the site, was at its prime with like the you know, the most robust video library, you know. So this was definitely before your time.
Yeah.
But you know, I remember, of course, I was coming off of like a magical couple of trips that I've freaking rambled on about endlessly, you know, where I discovered my love of the Tiki Room and all that. And I just wanted to relive as much of the Disney parks as I could. And it wasn't as simple as now. You can just go onto YouTube and literally, Evan, there's like 10-hour videos of like just Disney park ambiance, just walk around the Disney. I'm like, oh my God, if I had this back in the day.
Yeah.
But so I distinctly remember I would be like, okay, like, oh God. Oh, I'm getting deja vu talking about this stuff, man.
Really?
I really am, because so basically, like, it would be like a currency of time, right? Like, you know, like if you wanted to watch a dark ride video, well, those would be less time, you know, because it'd be less time to download. You know, it'd be a pretty easy download and you could watch the dark ride. If you wanted something like Pirates of the Caribbean or Haunted Mansion, then you'd have to put in a significantly more amount of time, because, you know, it'd be like a much bigger download, but then you'd be like, oh man, like this is epic. Like now I get the, you know, now I get the real meat and potatoes, you know? I don't know. That sounds so stupid. Am I making any sense?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
Like, I don't know, just that feeling of like, okay, do I download a couple shorter videos or do I download a longer video?
Yeah, I mean, especially if you had dial-up, like you kind of
exactly.
Yeah, picking up what you're putting down. I know what's going on.
All right, Jesus. Okay, but yeah, VisionsFantastic. Like I said, they had podcasts, they had a radio show.
Yeah.
They had a robust multimedia library. They were very much a step up as far as the actual content of the website was concerned and the visual presentation. And I do remember, like, not often, but I definitely remember there was, especially because Disneyland is such a local park and it's always been a local park, and, you know, thus more hardcore fans. Like, VF had merch, and I do remember a few people walking around with VF merch back in the day.
That's funny. I didn't know that they had merch. That's really
they
funny.
definitely have merch. That VF, man, that VF is pretty distinguishable.
Oh, absolutely. I love the design.
Uh-huh.
And the other thing I'd like to mention as well is that they were super duper kind to us too.
Oh, yeah, please tell them about that. Yeah.
As the years went on, when was this, like 2013, 2012?
Something like that, yeah.
The forum started dying. But the Imagineering forum was still super active, or relatively active. So it got to the point where they shut down the entire forum, but they kept the Imagineering board open for another year or two. So they literally like facilitated our community, and solely our community. for like a pretty long time, which was really nice. And they were always very supportive, and they were pretty hands off too, which I appreciated.
They were, yeah.
Within reason. I think 1 or 2 times they stepped in when like weird stuff happened.
Yeah.
Generally. So yeah, they were really great.
And then of course that site got attacked by Russian bots.
Oh, I forgot about that.
You forgot about that? Oh yeah.
Yeah, because from like towards the end, I kind of migrated myself over to WDW. So I was a little bit removed from the very end.
Yeah, I remember those bots would come. It's just like anytime we try and get a conversation going, they get just buried by bots.
I totally forgot about that. I definitely remember that.
that was the real death of VisionsFantastic, man.
No, you're right. That was crazy.
All right.
Yeah, VF was great, and then we all moved over to WDWMagic, which is another great forum. I've probably been on WDWMagic about as long as VisionsFantastic.
Oh yeah. Oh, Rob said the in-park scavenger hunts. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and that's the thing with VF. I feel like VF was very, very hands-on with the local fan community.
Yeah, it felt like a smaller, like more intimate Mice Chat.
Totally. Good transition.
We transitioning to Mice Chat now? Okay.
Let's talk Jim Hill and Al Lutz.
Yeah, that's fine. I used to go on Jim Hill's website a little bit, not a ton, but I liked it. It's a good website. It had interesting articles, at least when I went on it like a decade ago.
Jim Hill, I feel like, is a classic like fall from grace story, and we're going to get into a bigger fall from grace story off this podcast. I think you know what I'm talking about.
No, I know. Yeah, I know.
It's a fall from grace story I've wanted to cover for a long time. But Jim Hill, man, back in the day, I feel like he was. Here's the thing. Jim Hill was the professional columnist, and Al Lutz was the rumor guy. And I wouldn't necessarily call them a rivalry, but they were very prominent in their own spheres, to the point where these two names were two of the biggest names in the fan community at the time. All right. And so like I said, Al Lutz, do you remember anything about what Al Lutz would do?
No, because I wasn't really huge in the Mice Chat community. I just kind of watched everything implode. I was on Mice Chat for maybe 6 months, and then realized the community was awful. So I very quickly left. But I'd read the articles every once in a while.
So the way that I would describe Al Lutz articles back in the day, Evan, is that they were basically unofficial Nintendo Directs for Disneyland stuff.
Okay.
Here's the next 9 to 10 months worth of things that Disney is planning to do with Disneyland, just laid out in article form. And because of that, again, folks, the big thing I'm trying to establish with this podcast here that I hope is coming across is just how different of a vibe this community was back in the day, where it's because nowadays you have all kinds of, you have freaking fan Twitter and Reddit and just so many different sources to break news.
I mean, back then it was very grassroots, and it was all structured around.
Back in the day, Al Lutz was the guy. At least for Disneyland, he was the guy. And so every time he came out with an article, it was a big deal. It would literally shape the scope of Disney fan speculation for Disneyland for months at a time, based on singular articles that he would write. I can't emphasize enough how much influence he had in that regard. And I will say it's very interesting, because he had a good ratio of stuff that he got right, but he also got some stuff wildly wrong. And so it'd always be fun to read an Al Lutz article and kind of speculate okay, how much of this stuff is actually going to happen?
Yeah.
A lot of the time, it's basically like kind of like what happened with Galaxy's Edge, where sometimes he'd get it right, but because of budget cuts, it wouldn't be quite as prominent as something that he would be promising. But I wish I could cite specific examples. I just remember his name being all over the place.
Yeah.
And Mice Chat is a community. I mean, I don't want to freaking point fingers or anything, and I don't want this to be negative, but yeah, there's a reason why I never got into that community. It's not a great place.
Yeah. I went on there for a little bit because for like a very short time they sort of had an Imagineering community, sort of. But yeah, I did not like the community.
Okay, and then Jim Hill, all you need to know about Jim Hill is that back in the day, he was like, what I remember about Jim Hill is that he would write really, really interesting deep dives into stuff like, like undeveloped or, like in development Disney movies that never actually got made. Stuff like that. I remember he did a whole series on different Christmas carols over the years, and basically used it as kind of like an exercise in like how many different ways you can adapt the same basic story. Like as far as writing goes, as far as journalism goes, he was up there.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
His name is Mud now. His name means nothing now. I don't want to poo-poo the guy. Like, I really shouldn't be saying this because, like there's a possibility he could possibly be seeing this. All you need to know about him is that he got super corporate.
Yeah.
And you can very, very distinctly notice a trend, like very suddenly, if you go back in his archives, where it's very interesting articles. Like, it was to the point where, like, like almost every day he'd be putting out something. It'd be like, oh, that's an interesting little nugget of information that I want to get my hands on. It was very, once again, much like Al Lutz, but, from the journalism side of the things and instead of the rumor mill side of things. It was very much a grassroots kind of thing. It was like one guy and maybe like a small handful of guest columnists really putting their heart and soul into it. And then he started doing sponsored articles. And now he pretty much does nothing but sponsored articles. And yeah, it's kind of a shame.
Unfortunately, you see that a lot with a lot of Disney bloggers, especially
I know.
There's a few like theme park blogs that I used to follow that are just sponsored stuff exclusively now.
Yeah, like it's basically just like, like every time there's like a new like DVC or something like that, or that's literally all he talks about is like, those like kind of like, those like anytime that Disney opens something or does something, and then it's like, I mean, I don't know. It's like, I could be wrong. He could do, the columns that actually have passion and are interesting subjects. He could still do those, but if he does, they're very few and far between. So,
yeah.
All right. But I do kind of feel bad about talking about Jim Hill just because, hey, you got to pay the bills. You know what I mean? I get it.
No, absolutely.
Okay.
Just doing what you gotta.
You know who I kind of don't feel bad talking trash about a little bit?
Who?
David O'Neill.
Before we do that, can I mention one more Disney site that I meant to mention earlier?
Sure.
One that I think is fantastic and not enough people know about. It's called Epcot Legacy.
Okay.
It's a really fantastic website where he makes it's like multimedia. So he makes art. He does these really great, really comprehensive posts about different attractions and stuff. I used to go on it a lot because up until Disney found out about it, he was like totally remastering the complete soundtracks to every pavilion.
Oh, wow.
And they were downloadable. So I was downloading them all. I don't think you can do that anymore, but I just went on the website today and it looks like those mixes that he did are back up, but they're not downloadable anymore.
Okay.
So they're still there, and they're fantastic. They're so good. And it has like everything, even stuff that like demos and like different stuff that you wouldn't really see normally.
Nice.
They're really good. But yeah, definitely check out Epcot Legacy. I really love that website.
All right, so we are going to end tonight's podcast, and I feel like we've had a really good flow to build up to this point.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the rise and fall of David O'Neill.
Oh, God.
Of the
fall and further fall?
Oh, man. Oh, I'm literally getting goosebumps. This is one of the... This is one of the bucket list podcast topics. Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, this is something where I feel like I have a more intimate connection to this than most people do, because I was very much on the ground floor for all this drama. Oh, man. Okay. Jesus. Where do you want to start with this? Do you know enough about the Extinct Attractions Club to give the people a brief overview of what it was?
Yeah, I know a bit. It was a DVD series, correct?
Yes. I believe a lot of the episodes are still, a lot of the documentaries are on YouTube now, which is very freaking
I thought he removed them all again.
Did he remove them all? I'm pretty sure what he did was he removed them all, but then he got another channel and he's releasing them all remastered.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
So I can look it up right now, actually. So it's like a mail order DVD series, or it was a mail order DVD series that were really comprehensive documentaries about different attractions and just Disney parks in general. It's kind of like what like martinsvideos.net does now.
Looks like there's just re-uploads now.
Okay, yeah. But with actual interviews with real people, like I remember seeing one that he did with Harold Ravenscroft and stuff like that, and they're really well made. They're really well made videos.
Yeah, guys, I don't think they're up in an official capacity on YouTube, but it looks like you can still watch them in an unofficial capacity. Which like David O'Neill, like that's one of the things with him. He really needs to just preserve all the stuff in whole, because it really is fantastic stuff. I mean, this guy has a fascinating fall, and we'll get to it. But I truly think that the Extinct Attractions Club was the mecca. Like it's still some of the best Disney fan produced content ever, as far as I'm concerned. Because like you said, it had the advantage of being able to have the interviews with these Imagineers, which I mean, you can still do, there's still a lot of Imagineers that are left. But you can't have an Imagineer, you can't have an interview with a Thurl Ravenscroft, or someone like that. There's definitely a handful of people that have been interviewed that have since passed on. And so that's very special to have those interviews. But just the fact that they were able to get those interviews, tie them in a cinematic way. They had a narrator who narrated all their documentaries consistently. His name was Brian Summer, and he was a very good kind of professional sounding, almost kind of like a game show host announcer type of voice. And then I remember they do some switch ups, like the coolest one I remember, which still kind of blows my mind to this day how well it worked out. And because of this, I think it's probably the best documentary they ever produced, was the Carousel of Progress. They got the son of the original narrator to basically do a dead-on fucking impression of the narrator.
Well, I'm pretty
Carousel
sure
of Progress.
Just so you know as well, I'm pretty sure the son of the narrator also voiced the father in the 1994 redo.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did that. But no, that's really cool.
But yeah, it's basically like, it's pretty much the the Carousel of Progress father narrating you through the the history of the Carousel of Progress. It's great. It works so well.
Yeah.
And man, it's a shame because they had a lot of really interesting concepts for documentaries. And it's like, granted, all these concepts are available now as far as history videos go with YouTube, and the YouTubers that do it do a great job. I mean, it's like David O'Neill absolutely paved the way for folks like Kevin Perjurer to just freaking blow the lid off this sort of medium.
No,
and
absolutely.
Kevin Perjurer is a master of his craft, obviously.
And another unsung hero is Martin Smith.
Of course.
I used to watch his videos like religiously.
But David O'Neill, I mean, he like these documentaries were almost theatrical level. Like they were and one thing I remember is that it would take forever for them to come in the mail. Like it was an excruciatingly long wait because he was literally like he was literally printing out the DVD covers and the discs. Like he was doing it all himself and shipping everything out. Like it was crazy grassroots. And so I remember like when this was kind of the same thing with the e-ticket magazine as well, because I would mail order for the e-ticket magazine too. When the package would actually come, oh man. Oh, that was like freaking Christmas.
Yeah.
Here's where the Extinct Attraction Club took a turn. And it's when David O'Neill decided to I believe he probably got a hold of like someone's personal archive or collection of Disney, like old school, like vintage Disney multimedia, like Disney Park multimedia. And Evan, he decided to just slap those things on discs and sell them.
Yeah.
And that was not a smart move. Not a smart move on his part at all. And I do really remember that was one of those things where it's like it would kind of muddy the waters a little bit, because one of the really shitty things I remember him doing was like putting up stuff for sale and not even clarifying if it was a documentary or not. And I remember that would happen a couple of times with me, where I'd get I'd get something thinking it was a documentary and it turned out to be like some old promotional film.
Yeah.
And I paid the exact same price for that as I'd pay for their actual documentaries.
And I mean, I think that's the biggest thing with him, is that he gets super like disingenuous with a lot of the stuff he was doing.
Yeah. And it's really a shame.
Deceptive. Yeah.
Oh God. Blue Dragon 5 is here with a muddying the waters. Yes, Dragon. He was muddying the waters, indeed. Yeah, so it was very deceptive, and I just think straight up stupid, honestly, because it's like you had a good. It's literally like one of those cases of like he had a really good thing going with the actual documentaries, and he got greedy with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure the documentaries weren't cheap to produce. I am not sure how much money he was making off of them, but the fact of the matter is, like, by not only by just the mere act of redistributing those promotional films and whatever, like obviously clear violation of copyright. Like any dumbass could know that Disney is going to get on you for that if you're profiting off of it. But like I said, I think the real shitty thing was the breach in trust with people, and the fact that he was trying to push, like he was trying to be ambiguous with it. And I remember he was pushing more and more of this stuff to the forefront of the shop. And like I said, there was no easy way to determine if it was a I mean, I'm sure that in some instances it was very easy to tell. But and then he'd do like home movie footage and stuff like that, which honestly, some of that was cool, because he actually has a pretty interesting backstory of living across the street on Harbor Boulevard. He came from a really poor family, and his family like literally lived in a hotel. And him and his little brother would go to Disneyland like every day with a camcorder. So that's actually a really cool backstory. And I think some of that footage is really cool because it's very, very vintage, very authentic. But yeah, the promotional stuff, I mean, look, I don't know the details about like exactly what sort of legal ramifications he got into. I really don't. All I know is that site was like, it was gone. It was gone. But then Evan, he tried to have a comeback.
Yes, he did. How long was he gone? He was gone for a while, right?
He was gone. I would say he was gone for at least a decade.
That sounds right.
Yeah. At least, if not longer. But then out from the ashes, a phoenix emerged.
Okay.
Okay, please tell them. Please tell them. I'm sure you remember this shit.
Yeah, he made a YouTube channel, and I got excited because I'd never seen the Extinct Attraction Club documentaries. So he made a channel. He started uploading a bunch of the Extinct Attraction Club's documentaries. And then after a few years, he removed them. And now he posts like weird car videos and like
I think
like videos about drones.
Weird car videos before. That was kind of like
you're right. Things. Yeah, it was like at the same time.
Yeah, and he also had a drone. Like he had a show where he reviewed drone cameras, I think.
And I think he tried doing vlogs for a little bit.
It
was
a price gouging
very
phoenix.
Weird. Yeah,
Triken says
it was very, very weird, and I'm pretty sure he still sometimes posts videos. I think.
Okay, I want to talk about those cringy as fuck thumbnails, though. We got to talk about those.
Oh my god, yeah. I forgot.
Please tell them. Please tell them.
I don't really remember them that well, but they're really bad.
Okay, yeah. So basically, he would. This was, I believe, maybe 1 or 2 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where, at a certain point in time, and if we go back far enough into our own personal group chats, I'm sure we have like a whole archive of them.
Oh, absolutely, we do. Yeah, because you were posting them daily.
Right. But okay, hold on.
You look
at a certain point in time, they were like just. It was like the ultimate Disney clickbait. It was almost like a parody of Disney clickbait.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that. Yeah, he was making like news videos.
Yes, exactly.
Like, it's like, is Disneyland collapsing? Like, it's just like
right.
It's like all like this super over the top like clickbait bullshit.
And it was literally like every day he'd just take like an article or something, and the funniest thing was his faces.
I know, I forgot about that. Yeah.
God damn, is there anything you can kind of distract us with while I try and find some of these thumbnails?
Yeah. How are you guys? Good. That's great. I'm really glad to hear that. I'm doing pretty okay too. I had a pretty busy weekend, but it was nice. It was relaxing. I got to see some friends.
Apparently, David O'Neill is also a trumpet player.
Oh, really? It's funny. I'm sorry, Tiki interrupted my story. So I did a bunch of stuff. I've been doing pretty good, but I'm glad that you guys are doing good as well.
Did this guy just remove himself off of YouTube?
Yeah, I was trying to find him like 20 minutes ago.
Did he purge himself from the internet?
He might have. He hasn't uploaded in a while.
I know he hasn't uploaded in a while, but like, Jesus, I think he totally just like, I can't. Hold on. Extinct Attractions.
I looked up
Club.
I looked up David O'Neill, and one of the results was humanoid creatures cover up, accidental exposure in Thailand, cryptids unveiled. What is this?
This motherfucker practically deleted himself from the internet.
Yeah, it's fine. He'll come back in another decade.
Oh, he will. He will.
As soon as there are more drones, he'll be back. More drones to review and more cars to drive and also review.
Okay. Yeah. This is like extinct taken literally. I mean, yeah, pretty much. This is honestly kind of like I knew that he had stopped uploading, but I did not know that he like purged his entire existence from the internet.
He did that once before, didn't he?
I know.
He made like a third YouTube account or something like that, I think.
Yeah, his third YouTube account was called Theme Parks 360. That's the thumbnail you see here.
You're right. Yeah.
And that did not last long.
No.
And I was very enthusiastic about it when it first started because that's where he was uploading like the HD. Like I was like, okay, like finally a channel where it's like he's gonna do like an official archive of all the Extinct Attractions Club stuff. Maybe he'll actually take the YouTube game a little bit more seriously. But no.
Honestly, I feel like he just like chases the money, which is fair, I guess. But he's just very deceptive, I think, which is the biggest issue.
Okay, so do you remember the thumbnails he'd have where he'd have like sunglasses and be stroking his chin?
Yeah, he just had like really weird faces.
Yeah, like really over the. It was like, I wish I could find them. God, Evan, are there any more fan sites you can talk about while I dive into into our old photos?
Well, yeah, I've been trying to do that too. WDWMagic is really cool. Tiki and I have a lot of history on that website as well. Obviously, that one's focused on Disney World. But yeah, I really like that website. I've been going on it for a really long time. That's annoying. I can't even find like the photo thing.
The scroller?
No, like how to look into the photo archive on a Facebook chat.
You basically just have to scroll through them.
Oh, I thought there was a way to like pull it up.
I don't think so.
But yeah, there's WDWMagic, great site, cool time. That's been around for a really, really long time as well. And it's definitely, I want to say it's the biggest Disney fan site right now.
I would say so.
Yeah, Mice Chat might still be bigger, maybe. But WDWMagic is like really, really active for a website in 2020, or for a forum in 2020, rather.
Totally.
What else we got? Yeah, I talked about Mesa Verde Times really briefly. That was a cool site. When it was active, I mean, they kind of ran out of stuff to post, so it makes sense. And there's a really good documentary about it too, actually. I forget what it was called.
Oh my God, I think we have like a loop of photos and I can't go back any further.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's okay. We tried.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, folks. Because I honestly think this podcast so far has been a really good narrative. Yeah. And I don't want to just like end it with like, well, we're trying to find thumbnails and we can't. So you're going to just have to take our word for it. It was like, these thumbnails were really freaking funny.
Keep talking. I might be able to find it.
Okay, they were really funny. They were really cringy. And like you said, it was in the midst of Disney shutting down. So a lot of it was like, will Disney ever reopen? Disneyland shut down forever. You know, like that kind of stuff. That, oh God, no, get out of here. Get out of here, David.
Oh, look at him go.
No one wants you, David.
Whoa, Tiki.
Well, he clearly doesn't want to be involved in the internet right now, so.
Check Facebook.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, hold on.
Thank you for bearing with us, everyone. If you go onto the app on your phone, you can check media. But apparently you can't do that on like the web browser version for some reason.
Oh dear God. Okay, hold on.
Yeah. So how about that?
Okay, folks, I'm terribly sorry. I feel like this is just totally derailing like the narrative part of this podcast, which I was actually really trying to maintain. So
how about those Jets?
How about those Niners that did not get into the Super Bowl this year, even though they were close and they had it? They fucking had it.
You'll get them next year.
No, we won't.
Yes, you will.
Never do.
There's always next year, Tiki.
I swear to God, the Niners are like the one time I actually get emotionally invested into sports.
Really? Anyway, This is David O'Neill. He does look like that.
I'm just saying, like, look at like, oh man, just looking at this, it's so cringe, man.
I know.
I mean, just the $ sunglasses. I remember that's something that he'd do in videos that didn't even call for it.
Oh, are those real, or I thought they were?
No, they're photoshopped on, but I'm just saying. And then this, I believe this was like the announcement of them, moving to the theme, I don't know what it was, the last YouTube channel they did.
Yeah.
And I just remember it was like, whoa, what's going on? It's like he's uploading like all these videos with the same thumbnail, but they're different lengths. Like, what is happening here? It was very odd.
They are different lengths. It's funny.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, so God, so you guys get the point about David O'Neill. Like,
yeah,
he flew too close to the sun. He had a really damn good thing going with the Extinct Attractions Club, and I give him all the credit in the freaking world for the EAC as far as just how quality it was.
Yeah,
but man, he made some mistakes and described the memory of the thumbnails. Yeah, well, we just football talk. I'm out of here. Sorry, Dragon.
yeah.
I just showed the thumbnails, so
yeah.
All right. I think we're pretty much wrapped on this. Like David O'Neill was definitely the person I wanted to end on. We definitely spent some time on David O'Neill, so I think about 20 minutes on David O'Neill.
I mean, it's a lot to talk about. Also, the Mesa Verde Times documentary is called "Remain Seated, Please."
And Dragon Mesa Verde is a futuristic farming community in the Epcot Horizons attraction. It's not the Mesa Verde you're thinking of.
No.
He's thinking of the Better Call Saul Mesa Verde.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yes.
It's the guy who made that documentary is the same guy who made that Halix movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think we're out of here. Obviously, just as kind of like an epilogue, we got to shout out folks like, of course, Kevin Perger. I feel like is a game changer. Laugh and Play, or not Laugh and Place. Yesterworld Entertainment. I mean, it's
Yesterworld. There's Offhand Disney.
Offhand Disney. There's so many. It's such a thriving community right now.
Yeah, in the past like 4 or 5 years, it's really boomed. And there's even like smaller channels too.
And not to mention, like I said, there's an equally thriving coaster community on YouTube as well, and I love that. I love that I'm kind of like in that Venn diagram that loves both of those things equally. So there's a lot of content for me right now.
Yeah.
All right. So, folks, I truly hope everyone's enjoyed this. This podcast was actually kind of a labor of love on my part because this is a concept that I've wanted to dive in and talk about for a long time. So this is honestly one of the few podcasts that we do where it's like, okay, I want to make sure that this isn't just us kind of talking off the cusp. Like, I really hope that we actually kind of, provided y'all with some sense of narrative with this one.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, with that, have a good night, everyone. See y'all later.